is more humans are capable of than what some people think. You are only limited by what you think. But some people know how to make use of everything that is available to them. So let me take you to a very ancient town somewhere in Africa, motherland. Many years ago, there lived people that loved power. Should I say power-obsessed people? They are still there to this day. We have our politicians fighting for power, but in those days, it wasn't that type of battle. So people will go far and wide. They will do everything they can to acquire powers that will enable them to do and undo. They acquired powers that made them fearless, that made people to dread when they hear their names. So in this community, in this village, they loved fighting for power. They will come out in the open and battle each other. Just power testing. That's what they call it. It is like a festival where everybody comes out with the dark powers they have to compete to see who will win. And the other people will go back, reinforce, prepare themselves, do several sacrifices. It doesn't matter what kind of sacrifice was involved. Animals, humans, name it, they will do it. They will go extra miles to acquire powers that will make them to even change from human form. And that is the story we are going to be telling today. Now, people from Africa, Europe, US, Australia, all around the world, the Caribbeans, Brazil, name it, you will hear stories that does not really make sense. You see sightings, people talk about seeing things that doesn't fit in the animal kingdom and doesn't necessarily fit in the human world. It is just somewhere in between. Mysterious things that you really cannot categorize into a particular. People are always, when they tell those stories, they sound crazy. Some people laugh and look at them like you didn't see anything. But these things are being cited all over the world. But I will give you a story. And remember that the stories you hear on this channel are all true stories. They are not made up. They are not fiction. None or whatsoever. If I decide to tell you a story that is not true, I will point out. If it's fiction, I will let you know. But these are true stories from motherland. So back to what we were saying. So these people will go for this competition. And at some point, you have a number of them that were feared from far and wide. Their names were known because after they win battles of power in their communities, they are able to go to other communities and conquer. And when I'm talking about this power contest, people die in the process. It's not just a wrestling contest where you wrestle, you win, and that's it. And the other person goes home. No. If your power is not strong enough, you are going down 6 feet below. But who dares to challenge them? They've acquired so much. So most of them were known all around. And far distant land knew who they were. This particular man, he started early in his life to search and try to acquire powers and discover other dimensions and what the humans can actually achieve. I believe this man was born with the spirit of, should we call it wickedness? Because from what we hear, I was not born when this man was in display. I was not. But did I see his generations to confirm to you what I'm going to be telling you? So you follow all the series and listen carefully. So this man started in his early life as the story was told, to acquire powers. And he got to the point where he could walk and manipulate the elements. Like he could come out during the day and do some walkings, and all of a sudden dark clouds will cover the whole community. If it is raining, he will be able to come out, do some incantation, and the rain stops, or he's able to redirect the rain. He could do that with the wind also. And it seemed like he got obsessed with the fact that he could do these things, and he wanted to take it a step further. So he started by sacrificing people. When that didn't get him to where he wanted, they said he left his community. For a long time, they did not see him. But before leaving, he promised them that when he comes back, things will never be the same. Left the village for a long time, was not seen. Nobody knew where he went. Nobody knew his whereabouts or anything. After a long period of time, this man came back to the village. At this point, he was now a middle-aged man. He displayed and did his first show, where he was able to show when he came back as a middle-aged man. He started boasting that he has acquired powers that not many people in their area have. And he warned the villagers to be careful with him. Everybody knew the kind of man he was before he left. So nobody took his warnings for granted. People avoided him, avoided his household. But that was not enough for him. Like I said earlier, that it seemed like this man was born with the spirit of wickedness. The fact that everybody avoided him and stayed away from him. When he's walking on the road, people move to the side and give him space. People don't speak to him except he speaks to them. But that was not enough. It's almost like he was power intoxicated, that he wanted to do more. The fact that he was feared made him feel like he was the god of the community and beyond. So he can do whatever he chooses. So he decided to start collecting things that were not his. If he sees your farmland is in a good position, it's a good place, it's in a good place that it produces good crops and you sell, you make good money, he tells you he wants that piece of land. If it's your wife, he tells you, and that's it. Nobody argues with him. Whatever he wants, he gets. And the few people that decided that they were not going to do what he was asking for, he made sure to use them as an example. So, remember that I told you that when they did their power fight, they always do it in the open. They fight where people would see them exchanging these powers until whoever wins, wins, and whoever doesn't, well, sometimes people go home almost half dead. They go back, try to recover, and return to fight. Some are not so lucky. But one thing I want you to remember is the fact that they displayed their powers in the open. It was a thing of pride for them that they had these powers. Women, men, they all loved that they had these dark powers that they could use to fight against each other and even disturb the peace of their community and beyond. There are times that people will be having events. If they just don't want that event to happen, they could send in rain and thunder. just to disrupt what was happening. If the elders in the community decide, the king, the elders decide that they want to do something, if this set of people don't like it, if you don't go consult them, they will disrupt that event. So they were very mean set of people. But when this man came with his newly acquired powers,